Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I am your man, Dr. L.
I am Dr. B, 60/40. That's all I'm gonna say.
See now, when I texted you, man, we had 54 followers. Now we got 55.
All
So
right.
so as we creeping
What a
up,
blessing.
you seem to want to make sure that you are gonna get your fair share here, man.
Uh, God forbid, sir. It's recorded 60/40, sir. You get 60, I get
But
40.
there's a bunch more that's not recorded. I mean, I'm sorry, there's a bunch more saying that this is my show. So
Sir, sir, I'm not going to deny this is your show.
all right.
You are you're in charge. I just have to be on the ride. That's all.
All right. Welcome everyone to the show. If you're watching this, make sure you hit the like button. Number one, and number two, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us grow. Share the channel as well. We want to grow. We want to have some great conversations about what's going on in the world, how it affects, in particular, the Black community, but all communities.
Yes, sir.
So we want to try to do our part to make the world a better place,
Hmm.
just like the founding fathers when they wrote the Constitution.
And most of them had slaves.
Yes. Um,
Most of them had slaves.
so I'm teasing this brother here, Dr. B, because well, I'll let you say it, man. What was
Yeah,
the
I
thing
did
that they
not. I'm not ashamed to say that I did not know until recently that the slave trade. Well, I knew that it stopped, but I didn't realize it was in the Constitution to stop. So when they wrote the Constitution in 1775 or 76, is when they also put in Article 1, I think, Section 9, and of course, Dr. L will correct me what section and what article it is, but they said that there will be no more imports of slaves in 1808. The issue I have is that number one, they said all men are created equal, and number two, it was Thomas Jefferson's suggestion to put that in the Constitution as well.
Yeah, I think it's correct to say that those people. There was a politician. Her name was, I can't remember what her name was, but she took a lot of heat for being stupid. She's from the northwest, or up, whatever that's called, the upper north,
Okay.
middle area, Michigan, or she's from Michigan or Minnesota or something like that. I can't. Michelle Bachman or something like that. I think that was her name. And she said something one time. She said that that the founders of this country had fought hard against slavery or something like that. And and a lot of people took issue with that because of how do you fight hard against it and then put it into the Constitution, etc.
Right.
So they took a big issue with that. So if once you understand it, a lot of them were conflicted about it. They were enjoying the fruits of it, but they were conflicted about that.
Again, as history says, Abraham Lincoln really wasn't into the abolition of slaves. He was just trying to keep the Union together, and so it was like a pushed issue that people of a different hue were supposed to be free because we were men as well. But I mean, again, we're about to celebrate 250 years of America, and we have to come to that realization that um, I think it was 3/5. We were property. We were not humans. We were property. We were chattel, and that's our history. And we're not just doing this to what's for just to be negative. We're just understanding when you look at the history of things. As a marriage counselor, I look at the history of the two individuals, the male and female. I look at their history because the history plays a very big part in how they work their relationships out or not work it out. And that's what we have in America. That there are things that were done that just like a relationship, if you don't resolve it, it will continue. And that's why in 1870, and Mr. U.S. Grant, was trying to heal this nation because of the Civil War, and it couldn't happen because there was something within the infancy of this country. that was not dealt with correctly. So, so in essence, what I'm trying to tell people all the time, whether you're dealing with politics, whether you're dealing with your relationship, it's still the same. What's the infancy of the of why we came together? Based on that is how things will grow or not grow.
Very good. So you mentioned, we're talking about the Constitution, what it says,
Yes,
what it
sir.
doesn't say. So there's a sister. I catch a couple of her podcasts. I can't recall off the top of my head the
Mhm.
name of her podcast, but she did just drop a book a couple weeks ago, and I picked it up. It's called "The U.S. Constitution: A Comprehensive and Annotated Guide for the Modern Reader." Her name is Melissa Murray. Sister, she's on a podcast with another white lady. She's married to a brother too, which I'm proud to see, but whatever. So she's a smart lady, and she's a lawyer. So she wrote this book. I have not gone through it yet, but what she has done is taken the Constitution and done exactly what you just mentioned, is looking at it through the lens of what was going on historically, what were the arguments that were going on, the Federalist Papers, and what was their thinking about the psychology about how we form these different amendments to the Constitution. So as we said, there was a fight, there was a debate and a fight over slavery. You mentioned the Three-Fifth Compromise. That was another compromise because in the South they wanted to count the
Mhm.
slaves as full human beings simply for the purpose of voting because they were
Correct.
outnumbered. The white folks down there were outnumbered numerically,
Correct.
and so the in the North didn't want them counted. uh, and there was another part. The North wanted something I can't recall. We didn't plan to talk about this. So I can't recall. So, so I didn't do any research, but I did
So,
just read it. I did just read it maybe like last week, so it's kind of a little bit fresh, but I'm forgetting some details. There were some things that the North wanted and the South and that the South didn't want, and some things that the South wanted that the North didn't want. So that was the compromise. Okay, we'll count them as three-fifths of a human being.
yeah,
So that's what it comes from. But remember, the South didn't want them to count as human beings at all, as you mentioned,
right.
because they saw them as just property. And
Channel.
if you
Yeah.
if and this is the problem, as you being a marriage counselor, right? So this is one of the problems that Black folks had even with marriage, right? They didn't want to give us the right to marry because that meant that you were fully human, number one, fully human. And then there were rights and privileges that went along with being married, the ability to pass down.
Yeah.
How can you pass down property
Yeah.
if you are property? So that,
Yeah.
that was just a whole complex issue that was going on at the time.
Uh, um, uh, and again, for those who are saying, why are these two black gentlemen talking about this? Because again, to understand who you are, you have to understand where you came from. Without doing that, I mean, for example, if there was no more racism in America, then this would be a mute point. But, but there is racism in America, so we got to understand where. I mean, after 250 years, come on, 250 years, why is there still racism? Why is it still a disdain? I mean, so this is something that we have to talk about out loud. Why is it that here we are, 25, 250 years old, and racism is still an issue? I just looked it up. So 1619, or some people even go back to, I saw this, 1526, of when African slaves came into America. But here's something that's interesting. By the American Revolution, 1776, all 13 colonies permitted slavery. Now, let's look at this. We go from the Pilgrims uh, in Massachusetts, who were coming to be freed from persecution for their religious thoughts. All right. So the Genesis, most people say the Genesis of America was people were trying to find American, religious freedom. All right. And yet you go from a religious freedom to um, slavery. That's a big contrast. I mean, we're going to have a freedom to worship like we want to worship. We're going to make sure that we can do what we want to do. Okay, great. But yet you go from that to by 1776, all 13 colonies had slaves. That's a powerful statement that a lot of people really won't dig into, because that right there shows you. Wait a minute, we are so far from the origin of why this country came into existence. This country came into existence for freedom, but we wound up by 1776 with slavery.
Yeah, I think a little bit of that is a lot of mythology too. I don't think they were really wanted freedom. I think a lot of people came here because they wanted
I'm talking about the Pilgrims. I'm not talking about everybody else. I'm talking about the Pilgrim, which most Americans say that was the bedrock, that was the beginning of
yeah, that's what they say. That's what they
Yeah.
say. I mean, it was a financial venture. Hey, we'll pay you guys to go over there because they had plenty of land. It was, there was natives that could be conquered fairly easily because they had guns and the natives didn't. So they came over here for business adventures, and then they want to mythologize it and say, okay,
I am not going to deny that, but even if it is a mythology, the bottom line is they still came for freedom. That is still, well, there's myth
there was some freedom. They wanted to get away from the
from England.
religion
Yeah.
from England. Yeah. There
Yeah.
was some. There were. I'm not going to deny there was some.
And then let's take this further. The American Revolution was to have freedom from England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a complex history here that people have tried to unpack. And for example, the 1619 project, people have tried to unpack that, and people are very hesitant and resistant to it. And in fact, 1619 project was written by, or she authored it or started the project. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. We're kind of just winging this here. We don't have a script, so I can't remember the sister's name. I didn't look it up. So anyway, she started this project, right? And there was a lot of pushback from it. And she lists the numerous authors that are in her project, and most of them have some sort of history degree.
Nicole Hannah Jones,
right?
Okay.
So she is, I believe she's a professor down in Virginia, I believe, right now. University of Virginia. I think that's where she's a professor.
I know it was the New York Times Magazine, August 2019.
Well, that's when it came out. But
Right.
Anyway, so she starts this project. She enlists the help of a number of people whose expertise is in this particular area. She gets a lot of pushback from this. And I end up reading a book. I'm not going to pull it up. I end up reading a book by a white guy saying that Nicole Hannah Jones was concentrated and focusing on the wrong thing. What he suggested that she focused on, and what the real crux of the problem was capitalism. And unfortunately, Black folks were the vehicle of capitalism. The reason that we have the Industrial Revolution, the reason that the United States boomed in capitalism was because of the African slave. Okay. So, but his thesis of the book that he wrote was, this is only possible. Nicole Hannah Jones is concentrating on the wrong thing, and by concentrating on these types of things, telling the exact truth about the history, is that she is watering it down. So I reached out to that brother who wrote the book. I reached out to about 10, and I'm not kidding, about 10 historians who this is their level of expertise. And I still have the emails about rejecting me, about coming on the show talking about this. Okay, who's right? Nicole Hannah Jones or this other guy? What's the whole controversy about? Let's have a conversation about it. It's not my expertise. I'm not a historian, particularly in this time period. Why? And I couldn't get anyone to come on and talk about it. So this is how much, and this is their expertise. This is what the people did their PhDs on and other things. And why you don't want to talk about it? I find that to be crazy in my estimation. And this is why we can't deal with it.
Yeah, the problem with couples, as well as with America, is that ownership. It is hard for me to counsel a couple when the husband, especially, which has been one of our biggest arguments between each other. But I still love you, brother. Amen. The ownership that the man must take to further, and also the ownership of the woman. In other words, the Bible says in James chapter 5 verse 16, it says in essence, confess your faults one to another. I mean, we cannot deny that America was full of Native Americans. That is not denied. And yet, in 250 years, you know, there's not a state that's fully Indian, but yet we have the Mormon state. Okay, that's nothing against the Mormons. I'm just saying that the original people who were here before Columbus, he didn't discover America, but I mean, before everybody, there's not a state for them. I mean, it was so bad that they took the children from the Indian territories and tried to assimilate them into America. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we just in America just don't want to be. You know what? Let's be honest about it. Let's have a true conversation and let's start the healing process of what has happened. Yes, is American great? Not going to deny that, but you cannot negate the negatives without and just focus on the positives. You can't do that.
What was it that I'm not taking accountability? I was looking for something. Is that what you're saying? I'm not taking accountability?
Yeah, America needs to take accountability for things that were done wrong.
No, you said I'm not taking accountability. I'm not me, Lawrence. You said you still love me for doing something.
What did I say for you real quick? How we disagree about the man taking a full accountability for things done wrong in the marriage, and that the man's the leader and he needs to take full. See.
Well, you're saying things I didn't say. I didn't say the man shouldn't take responsibility.
You did say that in the past.
No,
you did say that the woman need to look to take accountability too, and because the woman
two. That's a big word. Two. That means also. My problem is you want to stick everything on the man and don't want to ever hold ladies accountable. Full stop. You can't bring yourself to say that this is the woman's problem. She started it. Period. I have no issue saying men ought to take accountability for their actions. Full stop. Take accountability for their inactions. Full stop. You, my brother from another mother, Dr. B, can't say that. You don't want to say that it's a woman's problem. Full stop.
Excuse me. I will say the man's the leader according to the word of God. The man must excuse me.
We were talking about women, and the first thing that you say is men.
because I have to mention the leadership role.
Can't do it.
Man, sir, let me finish.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm going to mute myself while I talk here. Go ahead.
I told you he would do this. Didn't I tell y'all? I'm not a prophet, but I tell you what this is. You see what he's doing, y'all? I told you he would do this. So as I was saying, I was so rudely interrupted by Dr. L, and we love him in Jesus' name. The man must take ownership first. Even though Eve sinned first. Even though Eve sinned first, God talked to Adam first. So I am not negating what the woman does. Okay. I'm not negating. Okay. I said Eve sinned first. Eve was wrong first. But who did God talk to first? It was man. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
You do know that there is and I meant to bring this up, man. I was reading about this. I didn't read a whole lot about it, but I did read about there's actually a debate concerning who was wrong. And as you mentioned, who's Eve sinned first, but Adam got the scolding by God first.
That's correct.
God. So, and some people would say, and in fact, when the first time you asked me that, who sinned, I said there was Adam because he wasn't in his right place doing what he's supposed to be doing, and he stood there and watched. So there's a philosophical, theological debate about who was wrong.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. But again, whether that point to me, that even shows forth my point. The man must take his ownership first. He must say, what did I do wrong in this relationship? What could I have done differently? And women fall, boy, we're going from constitution to marriage, but women want a man that they can lean on. They want a man that they can trust. They want a man that has ownership. Babe, my bad, my attitude, my demeanor, my forgiveness. And guess what, sir? The more you take ownership of what you've done wrong, there's a high percentage point that the wife will take ownership of what she's done wrong as well.
I don't believe that at all. At all.
Well, this is where we disagree.
I don't believe that at
This is
all.
where we disagree. You, sir, are the seed. Your wife is the garden. The harvest is based on the seed first and the garden, but it's primarily based on the seed. If you get bad seed, you're gonna get a bad harvest. If you give an apple seed, you're gonna get an apple. You get apple seeds, you're gonna get apples. And a lot of times, men have this mentality that I can do wrong by you, but you got to do right by me. Double standards, And a lot of men don't want to eat what they prepare, so they prepare an affair, but they don't want their wives to have an affair. They prepare unfaithfulness. But boy, their wife better not be unfaithful. So this is why the leadership role is so powerful, that I'm teaching men who will listen, unlike Dr. L, about the importance of ownership of what you do as the man. Last point, your children have whose last name? Not their mamas, their daddies, which shows the leadership. I mean, there is no way that you and I both, or any man, would allow in a marriage, of course, allow their mother to name the child after the mother's maiden name. There's no way. Zero. Now, if they're not married, then of course the woman may have to name the child after her maiden name because there's no marriage there. I get that. But if there's a marriage going on, there's a consistency in that relationship, there's no way you're going to accept the maiden name of the woman. No, that child will have my last name. Why? Leadership.
I think that there's an infantilization that goes on with women that is caused by men. Men are coddled ladies, and this is not just me saying this. These are psychologists saying it. These are experts who are saying, because we don't full stop hold women accountable. For example, a boy can do something in school, girl could do the exact same thing, the boy will get a longer suspension, or he may even get suspended, where there's just a slap on the wrist for the women. How many women are out here, school teachers are out here sleeping with their students? Meanwhile, if a guy did that, that they would be put under the prison. And we make jokes about it. A man and a woman can commit the same crime, the man will get a longer sentence. These are all things, these are just some of the things that we are infantilizing women, and the refusal to hold them accountable. Again, this is not me saying this, although I let me say, it's not just me saying this. It is also other experts within various fields, psychiatry, psychology, saying that we are infantilizing women. We don't hold them accountable, and it's causing narcissistic personality disorders, either to foster in them or to manifest. And these aren't biological, neurological issues that they're having. This is, I'm right my whole life. My daughter, my daddy told me I was a princess. I never got suspended in school. I never got told no. By the time I was 14 years old, I had 25-year-old men buying me stuff, and it causes them to have this inflated sense of self-worth. And nobody along the way is saying, sit down somewhere. You're smelling yourself. We tell boys that all the time. You're smelling yourself. Well, the female equivalent is taking on narcissistic, manipulative types of behaviors. And so we got to be able to say the woman at times is wrong. I have no problem when a guy said, with everything you said concerning the men. Take accountability. Speak up. Apologize. Do what you're going to do. Do what you're supposed to do. Be a man of your word. But we don't say that to women.
I do.
I don't believe you do.
I do.
Okay, so I want to play a video, and I want to show you here exactly what I'm talking about. And again, this is going to be somebody. Let me try to find it here.
And the reason
I'm not
why
calling Dr. B. I'm not calling Dr. B a liar. Let me just say that. We're kind of just having a conversation. But I just think it's difficult for men
the
to
reason
do that.
let me say this: the reason why I come hard at the man, and it's very simple if you think the logic of it. If the man's a leader, and everyone agrees with that according to scripture, the man's a leader. Why
But
is
some
it
women
that,
don't want to be led. Some
excuse me,
women don't want to be led.
let me
Go
so they
ahead.
shouldn't be in a relationship. That's all.
But they are.
Okay, hang on. But many of those women who don't want to be led is because the guy keeps cheating, keeps lying.
No,
Yes.
you don't hear yourself constantly blaming men. There are
Sir,
I just gave you a rational.
I am not blaming men. I am saying leadership role. Now, here's my point. The reason why I focus on the man, because let's say I jump on the woman for what she's done. Okay. And listen, you've done wrong, right? The man's sitting there like, yeah, get him, Dr. B. All right. What good is it for me to focus solely on the woman without saying, wait a minute, where were you at? Just like what you just said. Where was Adam when Eve was talking to the serpent? You said it correctly out of your own mouth. Where was Adam? If I see a snake next to my wife, I'm not sitting there twiddling my thumbs. I'm going to kill that serpent. I'm going to kill the snake. He didn't do that. He didn't say, wait a minute. I mean, how many times have a man or something come your way and you as a husband say, wait a minute, bro, talk to me. I'm her husband. I'm the man here. Why? Because I'm setting everyone straight. No. My wife can take care of herself, but I'm the man. I'm her husband. I'm her protector. I'm her covering. So many of the women who I counsel, maybe you counsel different women, I counsel is that, Doc, I want to be submissive, but how can I be submissive to a man that only wants the title, but not the responsibility? And the responsibility is that if something goes on in that home, where are you, Adam? And you said it correctly that, people say Adam really sinned first. You know what? I can go there with you because God told him, do not touch. And yet Eve was able to move him from obedience to disobedience. So for the record, if a woman is wrong, I will tell her, woman, you are wrong. I will not look at the man and say, listen. No, I will tell the woman she is wrong, but I will also tell the man, where were you when she did that wrong? What mindset was she in? That's all I'm saying.
We're just never going to see eye to eye.
Okay,
I still love you. I love you too, but I think that the problem is that we infantilize women. We want to hold men. The man could be at work. The man could be doing what he's supposed to be doing. But if you got as my former pastor used to say, a stiff-necked, rebellious woman who don't want to listen. That's what he used to say. It was crazy funny. You got a stiff-necked, rebellious woman.
Can I say something real quick? That's why dating is so important. Because if you date and vet, you'll find out real quick she is whatever you just said, because that sounds so difficult to say, and then you won't marry her. The problem is so many men are into how women look and not how they are. Let me check your character, not your hips, not your thighs, not your breasts. Let me check your character. And if most men would check their character and not what's between their legs, many men will make better decisions. But again, going back to Eve must have been somebody fine. I mean, think about it, Dr. L. God tells Adam, don't touch it. This woman is so fine, so able to coerce Adam, that Adam said, you know what? I know what God said, and God's a creator, but since you're my wife and you look this good, let's disobey God. That's what really happened. So there was a vetting that men must go through before they marry someone so that they won't find that, whatever you just said, stiff neck, whatever you just said. Because if you vet, I mean, think about it. In every marriage fails for one major reason. That reason is, you know what? I really didn't know you. I really didn't vet you. I can say that in my first marriage, I really didn't know who you really are. I was just into the looks. I'm only talking about myself. Maybe you vetted your first wife and you vetted her really good. I'm saying for me,
well, no, I'm disagreeing with when you said every marriage. I don't think that that's the case. I think when people change over time, and when people change
who
over
they are,
time,
who they are, man. The
no.
essentials,
People grow.
of who a person is. I mean, think about it. The essentials of who someone. That's why you vet. That's why you date. I got to figure out who you really are. So as you evolve, so if you start with integrity, for the most part, you're in with integrity for the most part. Are there anomalies? Yes. If you start crooked, if you start angry, if you start confrontational, if you start can no one tell you nothing, if you start with them, then guess what? How things going to end? They're going to end that way. So that's why the dating, which we were taught in church, was a no-no. But dating is a necessity. I got to figure out not your sign. I got to figure out if you're crazy. I got to figure out how you deal with issues. I got to figure out how you deal with anger. Do you take it out on me, or stuff like that? So all I am saying, and I'll stop because we're so far from the Constitution here. But all I am saying, people, I told you he gets real riled up with this. Praise the Lord. That I just want the man to take responsibility. Because last point, and I'm gonna say this, unless you want to continue this. If Adam was in his right role, he wouldn't have took the fruit. If he was in his right position, he would say, "Nah, girl, I'm gonna let God handle you because you disobey God. I'm not gonna disobey God with you. That's on you, girl."
I think from a metaphorical sense for persons who are Bible believers, that is an accurate statement. I will grant that there is certain things that men should do, and I'm not rejecting the male's role in protection and leadership. Well, that is roles that I think a lot of people are rejecting today for various reasons. It's not one that I'm rejecting. I'm just saying that if a man is doing what he's supposed to be doing, and here's the point, and I'm going to play this video here. If because of the removal of authority by the state from men within the home and from a legal framework and the equalization of women, and I read a post one time, it said the moment that you equalize the sexes, you've actually elevated the woman above the men. Something to unpack from a philosophical statement that I have not completely wrestled with, but this is what they said because of the nature of, unfortunately, ladies, and this is something I'm still wrestling with. So don't send a bunch of emails and stuff. It's something I'm still wrestling with. But this is what the post said. So I want to play this video here, and this is a psychiatrist. This is a guy reacting to a psychiatrist. The guy who's reacting his name is Rich Cooper. He's got a pretty sizable channel, and he's talking about exactly what I talked about. And he's going to back it up with the psychiatrist who says, because we have infantilized women, we have caused them to have very, very narcissistic traits. And here's the point once again. When there is no father in the home, boys grow up without direction and guidance, and what do boys do? They go rogue, they join gangs, they get into fights, they get suspended from school, etc. Now, women have the same response, but less violent. They become manipulative, they become narcissistic, they become all these different types of things that are negative from a female trait perspective. So let's play what this psychologist says here so we can get a better understanding of what he's saying.
After appearing on the Edit Alveridan podcast and making what many people are calling one of the most controversial statements of the year. His claim is that women are disproportionately destroying the country. According to the psychiatrist, he says America has become afraid to criticize women. Society constantly calls out male flaws but ignores female ones. I'm glad somebody else is saying this instead of me for a change. Weak men are enabling the problem. Fathers are failing to step up. And what he calls toxic femininity. Well, gee, your boy's been talking about toxic feminism and toxic femininity since 2016. And what he calls toxic femininity, he's ripped it off me, is driving some of the most destructive cultural trends in the country. So McDonald argues that many of America's biggest problems aren't political at all. They're symptoms of a deeper imbalance between masculine and feminine. All right.
I believe that women are disproportionately, as a sex, disproportionately destroying this country. And I also believe that it is enabled by weak men. So I want to be very clear. I'm not attacking women. I'm attacking both sexes. But we attack men, and rightly so, all the time for excessive aggression, violence, sexual predation, as we should. But we never, ever criticize women for their errors, for their sex-specific flaws, which are largely uncontrolled, uncontained emotion, which explodes and leaks out into horribly destructive areas, such as the sexual mutilation and hormonal castration of young children, most of whom are girls, and most of which is led by women therapists, women teachers, women surgeons, women clinical directors, women politicians, women legislators. Even mothers in families are largely driving this, not men, not fathers. Of course, the fathers, they're just standing around letting it happen. So I'm not saying that they're guiltless or blameless, but I'm saying they're not stepping up. And we need strong, ethical men to stand up and to contain the excesses of what I would call toxic femininity. And we have lost that balance in our society. If we don't get it back, we are gonna fall as a nation.
Mark McDonald.
So that's that, brother.
So hear what he's saying, but the point I want to focus on is that weak men, not militant men, ladies, please hear me, not militant men, not men who are terrorists. The men I'm talking about are men who are servant leaders, men who will serve their wives to be an example of leadership. So in return, that wife will turn around and serve him. That's how it works.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. I think that I think that part of the problem is, number one, not calling out the ladies' behavior by the men, going along with it, not standing up, not being strong. I agree with you, not talking about terrorists or not talking about violence. We're not talking about manipulative men. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about standing up, taking a stand for what we deem and think to be the correct way to save civilization, and in particular the Black community. And there is I talked about this on my other channel, Dr. L's podcast. I talk about this on my other channel where I talk about there is a situation in college campuses called what is it called? Ratchet feminism. I think I might have mentioned this here before.
Ratchet feminism.
Ratchet feminism is college courses at universities where women, in particular Black women, are speaking about, and sometimes white women, speaking about the glorification of ratchet behavior and through a feminist lens. When you look at Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Glorilla, who's the other one? Sexy Red, and whoever else is out there, saying that this is something that should be embraced. This is something that should be praised. These women are speaking up for themselves. They're taking control of their own narrative, taking control of their own body. For far too long, hip hop glorified and spoke about misogynistic themes. So we're going to talk about the misogynistic themes. We're going to get paid and we're going to control the labels. So it's called ratchet feminism. And I read through a number of papers about this. And so this is the problem that I'm having. And it's nowhere is it more destructive, as this psychiatrist was just saying, and I'm saying, I'm sure that you would say, is in our own community when we have soft, weak men who have not taken control of our communities. The women are running amok. Therefore, the boys are running amok. Therefore, the young girls are running amok.
This is to me, you're backing into what I'm saying, that if men would take more ownership uh, and take more responsibility in leadership, we wouldn't have these running amucks. We wouldn't have that. But because so many men did not see good examples of leadership. I mean, so many men either don't know their fathers, the father divorced their mother, and now the father's not involved with the children at all. I mean, there's so many phantom of issues that to me steers from where was the dad? I was thinking about this today. The church that God's given me, we're doing but so much. And I'm saying to myself, how come I don't know how to give up? Guess where I got that from? My dad. My dad died with his boots on as a pastor. He didn't retire. He died with his boots on. He was the pastor the day he died. So I'm saying to myself, okay, wow, Dad, this is what you taught me to do until the very end. Fight the good fight of faith, stay contextual in the scripture, be honest with the scripture, live integrity. But that stick to itness I got from him. So there are good traits and bad traits that we can get from our fathers. I don't think being consistent in God's army is a bad trait at all. I don't think that at all. I'm just saying out loud that what if, and I would guarantee you that these women who are doing that ratchet feminism, I guarantee you the majority of those girls who are doing that didn't grow up without a father. Guarantee you.
Well, these are college professors, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm not talking about teaching the classes. I don't know about the actresses and etc. So
Yeah.
the entertainers, I should say.
Yeah.
That's-
I mean, they made fun just before Cosby had all his issues, but I mean, they made fun of the Cosby Show because there was a father who was involved. I mean, he was too involved outside of that, but I mean, the role he played. Okay, what does that look mean?
I'm listening. I'm
No,
listening.
no.
I don't believe all the stuff I don't believe all the stuff about Cosby. I don't believe it.
You don't think he did that with the women?
I don't think he was drugging people. No, I don't think that. I think he was probably having sex with them. And if there was any narcotics, if there was any narcotics, I think that if there was any narcotics, it was consensual. I wasn't there. I'm just telling you what I think and what I believe. Why would a millionaire have to drug someone? Why would you have to do that?
How many women came forward for that?
We don't know because that's why he ended up getting released because it was all done erroneously from a legal perspective.
The point I was trying to make about the Cosby Show is that because there was a strong male model in the show with a strong black woman as well, you saw how even though there were times that the kids went sideways, there was still strength there. Now, does that mean that if you are both working together, your kids won't come out perfectly? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But my new mantra is this, Dr. L. When you know better, you do better. Very simple.
I can't. So how many women did come forward about the Cosby thing? Because it seems to me you just want to believe. You believe all women? You think that they're always telling the truth? They're always doing this? You don't think any of them lie? You don't think that?
And you believe men don't lie either?
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You can't.
Sure.
You think you can get around the corner. You think you can come to the corner, but eventually, pew, you speed right off, and to being the Captain Save 'em, to trying to make sure that it's always down to the.
I am not.
Here you got to cut me off. You always got to do that
because you unfairly portraying me as a person that will not make a woman accountable. I'm not saying
I don't think it's unfair at all. I think people have heard very well what you've said.
More than 60 women have publicly accused Cosby
of what? Of what?
of drug facilitated assault,
I don't believe it.
battery, harassment, and other misconduct between
I don't believe it. I don't
1920s.
believe. I don't believe a word of that. I don't believe a word of that. I was in, listen. I can't speak to the plethora of individuals who are in entertainment space, Hollywood. You know, that whole industry, that whole world. I've never been there, but I can tell you as a police officer, these chicks be lying. I can
Uh,
tell you as a police
I am
officer,
I am not
you
saying
just
this.
got to cut me off, man. Come on, man.
Go ahead, sir.
I can't get it out.
It's your
I
show.
can't get it out.
It's your show.
No,
I'm
I just,
sorry, sir.
it's not about my being my show. You just
Go ahead,
want to
sir.
just white knight, just ride in to save these women, man. Let me at least say it, man. Before Dr. B jumps off his high horse, man, to come save you ladies, man. all I'm saying is that ladies lie. Do men lie? Yes, but full stop. Ladies are not telling the truth all the time, and to assume that they are, and to assume that somehow, some way, because she's acting inappropriately, is somehow a man's fault, is problematic. And just say, hey, listen, lady, you're a full grown adult. You didn't have to do X. You didn't have to go to X place. You didn't have to lash out. You didn't have to do whatever because you're a full grown human being with autonomy, with education at levels far exceeding the men. You put some of that education together, use it, and just take accountability, responsibility. We got to stop having white knights like Dr. B running in here like he's on Game of Thrones to save these chicks. Let them hold the L sometimes. If the man is wrong, he's wrong. If the woman is wrong, she's wrong. Go ahead. I know you just biting at the tongue. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'm gonna name this episode, Why Can't Dr. B Hold Women Accountable? Go ahead, man.
As I've said on every occasion, let's have a prayer meeting for Dr. L's ears. I've said consistently, Eve sinned first. Eve was wrong. All right. I'm sorry. Let me use Dr. L's vocabulary. Eve was wrong. He don't want me to use sin because he don't think I'm paying attention. Eve was wrong. Eve was wrong. She was wrong first. No doubt about it. But why, as you said correctly, where was Adam to correct the wrong? And as you said, and I said, if Adam had been in his right place and mind and not be weak-minded, then the judgment that came upon the world would not be as severe. That's what I think. But because Adam went and forgot his authority and leadership, see, Eve was wrong. Let me keep saying that. All right. Let me keep using Dr. L's word. Eve was wrong. Now watch when he comes back, he's gonna say, I don't say women are wrong. Eve was wrong. Adam should have corrected Eve and said, no, baby, we can't go against what God said. He did not. Because he did not, Adam was weak, and he went and followed his wife versus following God. If Adam had a chose to follow God and not follow his wife, that would have been a crucial point. And to your point, sir, that's why so many men are jacked up. That's why so many families are messed up, because they're being weak. They're not following God. They're not following, this is my leadership role that I should be doing. Instead of that, let me abdicate myself to follow what my wife does. That is totally opposed to what God is saying for me to do.
We will agree about that. So this is the problem that I have, and a lot of men are growing in vast more numbers. That's to the issue of happy wife, happy life.
I don't like
I
that.
gotta do everything my wife says. And I think that unfortunately, the way that marriage has evolved, it might not have started this way, but the way that it has evolved in the current climate, in the current situation, is that um, male authority has been taken away from the men via divorce court, divorce laws. Women are again empowered. Not all women. When I say women, I'm not speaking about all of them. Don't get in the comments talking about misogyny and all this other kind of stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm saying holding those people accountable for what they have done. Period. So when we talk about divorce court laws, the unfairness of how brothers are treated within this system, there seems to be again there's always this need to punish men more harshly, to hold them accountable more harshly. A woman can cheat. Now, Dr. B would say it's the woman cheated because the man wasn't there. A woman can cheat, destroy her marriage, run out of the home, just and forget the kids, and she will be rewarded somehow financially through the splitting of assets. Where, in my estimation, she shouldn't be either party shouldn't be held accountable or responsible or liable for breaking up the marriage, or rewarded at least when things break down because of somebody's inactions. If I come home from after a long day working, I catch my wife in bed with somebody, why should she get half? I mean, so I just think that we have this what we're calling now a gynocentric view of the world, and saying that everything the guy does is revolving around the women. And I think that is problematic, and we should not allow that. Ladies have fought hard to be able to vote, to go out to the workplace, to get educations, and to do everything else they want to do. And so with all this type of stuff comes, what does Spider-Man say? With great power comes great responsibility. And we got to give them the responsibility to be able to hold these L's, full stop.
I have nothing to say, sir.
So let me put this up here. This is the paper I was talking, or the book that I was talking about. This is the New York Times 1619 Project and the Racialist Falsification of History. This is by a guy named David North. So anybody wants to read that, so I suggest people go actually read the 1619 Project. I actually read it, and I also listened to this particular book just to get a better understanding. It is on my to-do list to read this U.S. Constitution, as we put up here before, to read this U.S. Constitution by Melissa Murray. I think that I appreciate the fact that she did the book, and she gave us about the Constitution, and trying to give us a better understanding about how these different ideas were formed and framed. Last question I want to ask you about here, unless you want to say something.
No, sir.
You sure?
Mhm.
Okay. Last question. Last one. So I had a brother on the show the other day on my other show, on my other channel, Dr. L's podcast. I had him on the show. Y'all make sure you hit the like button too here, man. Y'all hit the like button, and make sure y'all go over to where's this brother's stuff at here? drtc.brantley.com. Y'all make sure you go over there.
Oh,
Check out his
thank
service.
you, sir.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time. I do it every
Yes,
show.
sir.
This is
Yes,
on
sir.
every show. Don't start that. So on every show, I put this up. Y'all make sure you go over there. Check him out. I had a brother on my show, Dr. L's podcast, talking about, and he's a Christian himself, and he brought up the idea that he doesn't believe, and I just want to get your opinion about what he said. We don't have time for me to play it, but I would play it. What he brought up the idea that marriage just needs to be between a man and a woman, and we don't need the state involved. It's not their business as to who I'm doing what my business with and who I live by, leave my finances and things to. This is his idea. He is I don't think he's a minister, but I was going to say he's just as much as Christian as you, and wanted to get your thoughts about what another Christian is saying about that type of thing.
So marriage license, the whole ceremony, to me is needed, because I think if it wasn't for that, men would be marrying and having multiple marriages, and these women would be fools like crazy. Because, okay, I'm marrying this woman in this state, and I'm marrying this woman in this state, whatever. But because of licensing, now it's fully documented that, oh, you are married or you are with somebody. It just shows a commitment. Also, the reason why I believe in marriage is because if I can have a document for a car for 5 years, if I can have a document for a house for 30 years, then how come I can't have a document to be with somebody who I love and cherished for those years as well. That's why I believe in the marriage ceremony and marriage license, because again, we are able to possess things. How come we can't do the same thing for each other? But the biggest thing is that, by not having that documentation, that woman doesn't know if that man has married to somebody else, which could put somebody in a financial strait, because now the man has 3 wives and now he can't afford the 3, and now the state has to step in with some welfare. So to me, having the documentation of a marriage license is very important, because it's like anything. And also, to me, marriage is the highest estate you will ever have. Your highest estate will not be your property, in my opinion. Because guess what? Nothing can cause a man more hell or more heaven than a woman. 0. And that's based on how he treats her, for the most part. For the most part.
You did it again.
Leadership, sir.
You did it again.
Leadership.
You just can't do it.
Leadership.
Oh my gosh.
Leadership, sir.
Y'all hit the comments. You hear this, brother. You hear it with your own ears. It's not my imagination. He cannot, will not.
I did.
You didn't. You immediately brought it back to the man.
Because he's the leader.
My God. Y'all hit the like button.
What am I missing? He's the leader. Wait. How many times have your children says, "My daddy is"? Why? Because they recognize the leadership of the family. My daddy is. My daddy is.
I am walking in a place where I tried to do the best I could as a father. I told them who to be, how to act, and whatever. And when they went to school and did something, I got a phone call or whatever happened, they got in whatever, I'm not gonna blame myself, because I know I was there. I know I did the right thing. I know, and you want me to punish myself? Okay, I gotta punish myself.
No. I'm not saying if you did your best by your child that you punish him. I'm not saying that at all. Okay,
same philosophy with the man. Same philosophy.
No, you put words in my mouth. I'm saying if you've done your best, and then the wife, or the children go astray.
No, stick with the wife. Stick with the wife.
Okay, if the wife goes astray and the man's done his best, then the man can say, "You know what? I've done my best."
That's all I need you to say.
Okay.
That's all I need you to say.
But the man must first do his best, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you heard it with your own ears.
Sir.
You can't just leave it there. He can't leave it there. He cannot leave it there.
Sir, I'll say it again. If the man has done his best, and then the wife still goes astray, then the man has done his best. Done.
Very good.
Just make sure the man does his best. That's all.
Listen. Hit us in the comments. If you made it this far, hit us in the comments. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that this brother right here, who I love like a brother. This man is the godfather to my son. Godfather to my son. I love this brother. But you hear him saying he can't hold a woman accountable, because eventually, you gotta circle back.
Sir. Eve did wrong. Jezebel did wrong. Delilah.
You're not blaming Ahab? You're not blaming Ahab for Jezebel? Was it Ahab? It was Ahab, right? I can't remember.
Yes, sir. It was Ahab with Jezebel.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right. Because she, I ain't studying.
Oh man. Okay. How do we go from the Constitution to this, man?
I'm glad I made your day, sir. I'm glad.
I appreciate you, brother, man. Tell us where we can find you at, man. I already put this up here, but
also my comedy page, drbcomedy.com. I'm also a comedian by God's grace, drbcomedy.com.
He certainly makes me laugh, y'all. Go ahead, man.
Oh, thank you, sir, for interrupting me. I appreciate that. Also, Also, by God's grace, I've written 32 books. Dr. B, drbooks.net, drbooks.net. You can get all my 32 books from there as well. All glory to God.
All right, very good. And then you can hit this brother up for his counseling. Do you do it via the internet too, right? Do you do
I can do so. I have offices in West Hartford and in Waterbury, and also do by virtual as well. Yes, sir.
right? So if somebody's in Colorado, they can hit you up, right?
For sure.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're having some issues in your marriage, whether it's state sanctioned or just regular, you do premarital counseling too, right? You do premarital
I
counseling.
believe in premarital counseling. Matter of fact, I will not marry a couple unless I do premarital counseling first.
Okay. All right. Speaking about marrying people, here's my.
Can you marry people?
I can marry people. Yeah, I can.
Lord have mercy.
Why isn't it up here? Hold on.
Lord
Let's
have
get-
mercy.
Transform.
My
Show me.
Lord have mercy.
Here's my.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
I can absolutely marry people. Yeah,
Lord have mercy. You can actually marry people? Lord
I
have
can.
mercy. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
So if you're looking for an officiant, I can marry
Have
you. Or doc,
Have
you go to
married
Dr. B. Doctor, you go to.
Have you married anybody?
Yeah, I have married people. Yeah, I have.
Already? You actually married people?
Yes. What are you talking about? You never married people?
Did you do any counseling with them before you married them?
No, I didn't do counseling. No, I didn't.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow, man. God bless you.
Would I do it today? I would definitely I actually agree that counseling I know you got to go. I actually think that counseling should be mandatory. I think that. I do think. I don't think the state if you're going to do a state thing, I think the state should require it. I think the state should require parents to start going to parenting class. You send your kids to public school, I think it should be mandatory that you got to go to parenting classes. I think all that should be mandatory, but that's a conversation for another time because our kids are out of whack and all this kind of stuff. So I'm giving you a lot of pushback, but I actually agree with some of your concept there. I really do. So you can go to Dr. B if you want to get marital counseling. Then you can come hit me up and I can marry you because these credentials are here on the screen right here. So I can marry you. All right, y'all. We talked to y'all, man. Hit the like button, y'all.